I looked at a lot of these property developments because there's very few rules on property developments. And I was sad to see how many people were not getting what they were promised. They weren't getting title deeds. They weren't getting service stands. They were paying the money. They weren't, these things weren't being delivered. And at that time, some of these places had been 20 years old and they still didn't have roads. Some of them still didn't have electricity or water after 20 years, and they didn't have title deeds. And so I thought that shouldn't be. I remember having a conversation with my wife where we're doing okay and we're making money. The worse the inflation got, the more money we would make. And I said to my wife, at some stage, we've got to actually have a business where we're hoping Zimbabwe does better, not always hoping that it does worse. So you have to put back into people. Because if you don't, what does it matter?
Welcome back to HUMHR Career Insights and to the Bulawayo stop of our Across Borders Tour Africa 2026. Here's the question at the heart of today's conversation. What happens to your identity when you completely swap ecosystems? And how do you build a legacy when the ground beneath you keeps shifting? My guest is Jonathan Thompson, founder and managing director of Thompson Properties. But before he was the builder behind some of the city's landmark developments, he spent 9 years in the US property market, running an apartment complex in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Then he did something almost nobody does. He left it all, moved across the world to Bulawayo, the city of kings, Pontutuzyatunga. And I am so excited to be in Bulawayo today because it's home. So it's good to be back home. And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Was my introduction on point?
Very good. Very nice introduction. Well done.
What's the one thing that I missed that you would like everybody to know?
So, it'll come up in the conversation today. But, real estate hasn't always been a part of my life. So we had different ideas, different thoughts of what we'd be doing in life. And real estate didn't always feature there. And so I think one of the things that helped me in life, has helped me in Zimbabwe, is the concept of being flexible. And so, we know that there's a famous saying, make a plan. And we often have to make a plan. And the thing that worked yesterday doesn't necessarily work tomorrow. And so there's times we got to be careful that we can become so rigid that it just doesn't work. So, I think, I don't know, maybe I was created for Africa. It seems my brain worked with the hyperinflation, that those numbers didn't bother me too much as far as working them out. And even this idea that we have to adjust a lot. I think my whole life I've had to do that. So, it's, and I mean, for me, the move from Oklahoma to Zimbabwe, I don't think necessarily was as big as our move from Chipinge, where we stayed for many years, to Bulawayo. So to me, that was actually quite a big move as well.
So you didn't come directly from the US to Bulawayo?
No. We spent,
where did you start?
7-8 years in Chipinge,
and
where we pastored a church there, worked with an orphanage as well. So that was what we thought our calling was and our life work was going to be. So, we were there during all the land invasions and that sort of thing. And most of our church ended up leaving the country. So we ended up looking for just a regular job, ended up coming to Bulawayo and spent a lot of the first couple of years in Bulawayo with all of the hyperinflation and all of that sort of thing. So again, a very time that you had to be very flexible.
Let me take you back to 11 years old.
I
read you started a business at 11. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we grew up quite poor. So whenever we wanted something in life, we had to work for it. And a lot of times in American schools, if you've got a trip coming, they'll give you a product that you can sell, candy or whatever.
Lemonade.
I mean, I've done, I can't even tell you how many things I've sold in my life. And so even back then, if we wanted to go on a trip, it was if I wanted to go, I had to pay for it. And if I, do school fundraising and door to door and selling candy bars or selling whatever. And I often raised whatever I needed to go on a trip by selling door to door. We also mowed lawns and did that sort of thing. So we were, even from a very young age, always knew that if we wanted something, we had to work for it. I had paper routes as a kid as well. I, at one stage, had, I think, I had 2 major paper routes and hundreds of customers. And they did even a drive. Whoever got the most clients and most new customers would get prizes. I worked hard enough to actually win. And this was back in the 70s, maybe late 70s. I worked hard enough to win a television. So I was very...
On the paper road?
Yeah. So I was very... And not only that, but we had the other prize that I got that I can't forget is... I don't even know if you have them here. There's a candy that comes on a stick. So normally they're about this big. I got a giant version of it. So I had one that was about that big with a like a dowel rod for a stick. And we put it in the freezer and ate that for weeks and weeks. So those are 2 of the prizes I won just by developing this paper route. And but even then, even though it was about working and making money, I remember my mom saying to me not too long ago that when I was on a trip somewhere, she had to do my paper route for me. And they could never understand why it took so long for me to finish my paper route. And when they were walking around delivering the papers, an old lady would come out and say, "Oh, can you help me with this? Jonathan always helps me with this when he comes." And so even at a young age, I was helping people. And so a lot of times I was visiting and doing things as I was delivering and not delivering as fast as I maybe could have done, and often come home in the dark, So we just learned from a very young age that nobody was going to give us what we wanted. We had to earn what we wanted to earn. And I had a bank account. I remember I used to drive up to the drive-thru on my bicycle and have my little passbook, put my money in the bank and save. It was always a plan to save money for what you wanted. So from a very early age, we were out there figuring out ways to make money, shoveling snow in America, mowing lawns, doing handyman things. And then even, 15, 16 years old, working construction at times for the summer, that sort of thing. So I've done a lot of jobs in my life, jobs that people wouldn't even know are actual jobs, I think, out there. But I paid my way through college myself. We've always have worked hard. Yeah.
At 16, you were doing construction, and now that is what you do. We did. And when we had just gotten married, 20 something, I was doing roofing as well. So we were working on top of, I remember the nicest place we ever worked. It was a house on stilts, double story. So we were way off the ground overlooking the ocean. And it was an amazing place to actually be working. So I've done a lot of the different aspects of construction sort of growing up. Sometimes you're just cleaning but I remember once we moved a house. We actually helped pick up a house in America, put it onto a trailer, and moved it down the street to another location. So we did lots of fantastic things like that. But it gave me an understanding of the bricks and mortar of real estate as well, which serves me well in today's business. So our primary business with Thompson Properties, which we've now renamed Thompson Developments, is property development. So we help create multiple stands out of big pieces of land that we're breaking down and helping to maintain, service, and do all the things. We also, our company also does all the aspects of construction. So we don't physically do much ourselves. We do a lot of supervision. And the main reason we do that is we saw how many people in the diaspora were losing so much money. Sometimes to their own family. They'd send money home for repairs or for a purchase. And the family is eating that money. And so we saw that happening a lot. And, over the time with King City,
guys would pay for their stand maybe over 18 months or maybe some even over 3 years. And they realized that they've sent money to us every month, and that money never got lost, never got eaten by any of us. So once we were done there, we then would help them do boreholes, land clearing, find building contractors, supervise the construction, and be sort of the middleman between the contractors and the guys overseas. So they knew that when they were sending that money home, it was becoming an asset, not just being eaten by somebody else.
Yeah. What did you study in college? You said you paid to...
Yeah, so it's theology. So I'm an ordained minister. My wife is also an ordained minister. And we met at Bible college in America. And my son's even working as a missionary in Japan right now. So that was always our full intention, was to be full-time in ministry. So we did run a church in Chipinge for 6 or 7 years. And we were there during the Cyclone Idai, the first in 2000. And we helped. And we were always part of the community and all that while we were there. And then, like I said, once a lot of our congregation had left the area, we ended up moving to Bulawayo. And I started working for a company that did curios and those kind of things. Because that was one of my companies I had before, was exporting things from Zimbabwe to America. And so I would come to Zim and buy containers of things and send it to America and sell it. So we ended up starting working for a guy. But then when the hyperinflation came in, it made it really hard for them to send enough money for us to buy with. So it just became less and less viable as time went on. And we just got involved in everything. We were doing shopping for people. We were going over the border and shopping for people. We were bringing in fuel. We were all kinds of things. We opened up a secondhand clothing shop. And all of those things did okay. But we got to a stage where I remember having a conversation with my wife where we're doing okay and we're making money. The worse the inflation got, the more money we would make. And I said to my wife, at some stage, we've got to actually have a business where we're hoping Zimbabwe does better, not always hoping that it does worse. And that was about the time that we moved into the real estate market. And I joined the firm. Became one of the top salespeople in the company, and within a couple of years had studied and passed my exams in my 40s, I think. And I mean, going back to sort of school in your 40s and taking exams for the first time in years and years and years. I remember doing the exams, you're writing by hand. I've never written so much in the last 20 years as I did in those one sittings of it. So we passed our exams. We got a real estate license as well, which our industry here is very well protected, and you have to be quite, there's a lot you have to go through to become a registered agent. And so we went through that, and eventually left the company I was with and started Thompson Properties. And with Thompson Properties, I looked at a lot of these property developments because there's very few rules on property developments. And I was sad to see how many people were not getting what they were promised. They weren't getting title deeds. They weren't getting service stands. They were paying the money, but these things weren't being delivered. And at that time, some of these places had been 20 years old and they still didn't have roads. Some of them still didn't have electricity or water after 20 years, and they didn't have title deeds. And so I thought that shouldn't be. That's wrong. And so we started working first with a place called Hopeville, which is on the airport road. Friends of mine owned the land and they wanted to develop it, and we helped them with the developing and selling. And for me, a lot of that was, we didn't make that much money, but we were learning what it took. And the people there have got title deeds now. And then we started talking with King City. Came up with plans for them, came up with some ideas for them, helped them to develop as well. And that was a good thing for us financially. We've sold almost on my own with a support team, but no salespeople. I think I did 15 million in sales in 6 years or something like that. So it's a big development, and it's still we're not even to the halfway point yet. So it's a massive development. It's roughly 10 times the size of CBD. So it's
wow.
huge place.
It's like a second city.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so we've done a lot there, and now we've got a lot of individuals who've got smaller pieces of land wanting to do development. So we're working on ways to help them find financing and also develop, because we're seeing that in Harare. Harare is so developed now compared to where it was, and Bulawayo is behind that. But we're getting there.
Yeah. I know I had this conversation with a friend quite recently about how whenever we go home, nothing has changed.
Okay.
Like here to Bulawayo, nothing has changed. But you go to Harare, there's so many new things going on that you get lost.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that there's development.
Oh, there's definitely things happening.
Yeah.
King City right now isn't on the main road, so you can't see it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit behind the scenes, but our next section is actually going to be on the Gwanda Road. So the next section will be very, very public, and people will definitely know what's happening. But it's been going there for 6.5 years, and we've been selling. We're on our, 8th or 9th section.
Oh.
So, and each one of those sections is bigger than general developments are. If you Google what is the largest property developments in Africa, there's a list. King City doesn't show up on the list, but if you take number 1 and number 2, add them together for land size, it's still smaller than King City. So that tells me it's one of the biggest developments in the world. But I think it's one of the biggest in Africa for sure. And it's happening right here in Bulawayo.
So it's a hidden treasure now.
It's right now, but it's more and more people have heard of it, and it's getting out there. At this stage, we're selling faster than we can develop. So we're not really pushing it as much as we maybe could, because we're just not able to develop fast enough for the demand.
Yeah. There's a lot of demand for property. And being part of the diaspora, I know that's one of the things that we talk about a lot in our circles about investing, buying property. What is the one tip that you would give someone who is, out there and they're thinking, I really want to invest back home. I want to invest in Bulawayo. I want to get some property. What is the one tip that you would give them as a property developer?
The deal with an agent, the deal with a proper agent.
Okay.
We've got a thing in this country called a bogus estate agent. So every single person who's an estate agent is registered, is on the EAC, Estate Agents Council website, and has an estate agent's number. And every person that works, like everybody that sells under me, works in my office with me, and I'm supervising what they do. So, and we have to go through what they call CPD, continued professional development. So I just got back from what they call Real Estate Institute of Zimbabwe's winter school, which this year was held in Rwanda. So I was there last weekend in Rwanda. So every year we have to continue our learning and being up on the latest things and running a professional business. And so many guys get, I'm an agent, but they don't even check the guy. There's a picture online of 2 guys that just got arrested for being bogus estate agents. And when you look at them, they look like somebody who would have stolen your car. So I don't understand how people would have given these guys money for their house. They were like teenage kids sort of things.
Wow, yeah.
So,
and it takes some time to actually get the license. So
it's not easy. And which is good. When you're trying to get in, you kind of can be upset. Why is this so hard to do? But you know what? It's once you're in, you realize that it's good that the industry has high standards. Because we want to protect the industry and we want to protect the people trying to purchase, because it's the biggest thing you'll ever spend money on in your life. And how many stories have we heard where people have sent money and then they believe they have a house, so when they come home, there's nothing there.
There's nothing. Plenty. I know a few that dealt with relatives too. Yeah.
So I probably shouldn't even say this. This is like breaking news.
Break the news.
But our marketing campaign this morning that we're doing for Bulawayo, for Zimbabwe, is maybe we'll change the name, but Invest Ikaya. So invest that back at home.
Yes.
And so we want to help people figure out ways to get invested either in property, either in a stand or an actual house or whatever. And the thing is, investments are good. I mean, the prices have gone up a lot lately. The market has been robust. And, guys are making very, very good returns. And we've got some people, some investment properties making a return of between 8 and 14% annually, which is very, very good. And so we're competing with the world market on that sort of level. And so the younger you can get into buying a property, the better. And, the guys that are overseas, we can manage the property for them while they're gone. It can be creating money for them while they're waiting to come back. And then when they come back, they walk into their own house. And so it doesn't have to be something that they only buy when they're ready to retire and come back, but it's an investment that can actually start growing from now. But we've seen housing prices, some houses have gone up over 100% in value over the past 5 years. So 50% is very, very common, but even over 100% sometimes. So this is a really good time to be invested. And we're starting to see a lot of guys from Harare coming here because Harare maybe has gotten to a place where it's overpriced. So guys are looking for the value that we can offer here in Bulawayo. There's a number that you always see in the newspaper, 140, 150,000 people on the waiting list, waiting for properties, So, government can never provide all of that. So most of this has to come from the private industry. And so that's what we're a part of in delivering.
What is driving that? First, the demand, right? Which obviously then drives the increase, the property prices.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it that's driving
We've
that?
always been short on property here. I mean, I can remember first coming to Bulawayo. We came in 2006. So we've been here for 20 years almost. And we had a house to come to that was the company had rented out. But once we left that house, to find the next house was a mission. And we were going to companies, do you have any rentals? We've got nothing. Or we'd go see a house and it was just so unsuitable for what we wanted, or overpriced, or was it bad condition or whatever. And so even today, if you want to get a rental, if you want to move tomorrow into a house, it's not easy to find something that's available. Our rentals run at 85 to 100% full all the time. So there's people looking to rent. So there's a shortage there. And if you look at a lot of places, especially like the high density, you can go there and you can find 3, 4, 5 families in one house. So in reality, it's not like people are coming here that's causing it. The people are here already, but they're overusing the properties they're in. And so as guys make an income and make a way in life, they want to move out of renting a room in a house to owning their own house. And so eventually, if you have 1,000 houses with 5 families in it, you need 5,000 houses for them to own their own place eventually. And it's what we want to see because we believe that home ownership builds community. I often use the example with like the young guys that are around. If they're renting a place, they get a phone call from a friend in the UK. I've got a job for you here. Come this weekend. On Wednesday, by Friday, he'll be there. He'll leave everything. He'll go and have a job in the UK or South Africa or wherever. If you own a property, you don't do that. If you own a property, you have to really weigh, and it gives you more roots. It gives you more community. And so for us, we believe that community always starts with home ownership, and because those are the people that are more invested because they've put their hard-earned money into that neighborhood. So they don't want to see it going downhill. They don't want to see the potholes and the loss of services. They want to see things getting better and better. And so, so for us, we believe that home ownership is a building block of community. And it also creates legacy for your kids. It's something that you can hand down to them that gives them a start in life that maybe like I never had growing up. I mean, I don't remember my parents ever owning a house outright. They always had mortgages and things like that,
Yes.
And so, my mom, I think, might have been the first person in our whole family to go to university, but she never finished. And I was probably the first one to go to university and finish. And, but like I said, I don't think my parents ever actually owned their own property outright. And we now own our own home and other properties as well. So our kids are in a different place than we were growing up. And, the Bible says, like, sometimes the African mindset can be, you have a bunch of kids, so when you're old, they can take care of you. But the biblical mindset is that the wise man, provides for his children and his children's children.
Children's children,
So
yes.
your grandchildren and great-grandchildren benefiting from things you've done. That's a legacy that you can leave behind. And that's a legacy I think that we should endeavor to leave behind for our kids. Yeah.
And I like that you mentioned that, because the legacy aspect, and the African mindset is, my legacy is my children. They're going to take care of me. But biblically, and that's something that we need to shift. That's the mindset we need to change, that we actually need to leave our kids a starting point.
An inheritance.
Because I actually see it with my peers, where I'm starting from scratch, literally, but they have something. And it's easier for them to do things. It's easier for them to try things out. I literally have to work for everything. So my mindset is, you know what? I have to make sure that my kids, they're starting at a different level.
Without spoiling them and making them soft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They need to learn, like, the value of hard work and all of that sort of thing. I mean, in my house, we've always had a rule: if you're 18 years old and you're not in school, you work. And if you don't get a job, then you come and work for dad. And that may not be your nicest option. It's okay, but you work somewhere.
Are they working for dad?
One of them is, The other one's in Japan, and the other one's turning 18 next month. So she's got about 5-6 weeks to figure out what she's going to do. So she's looking because she wants to make her own decision, which is great. I
want to talk about these career pivots, Jonathan. From when you were young, you were doing selling. So that's, let's say you were doing sales. You were a salesperson. And then pastor, that's what you wanted to be. You came here as a pastor. And now you're in property development. How did you navigate those career pivots, those career transitions? What were the actual, choice points that, I'm going to leave being a full-time pastor and go into property development or real estate?
So that wasn't, like I said, it wasn't one step. It was a few steps. For me, we were doing a lot of things, just trying to make a living, trying to make things work, And some of those things worked well and some of them not so well. But at some stage, we were just kind of like, I've always liked property. I've always liked the idea of property. And one day I just said, I had a friend of mine in the real estate industry, and she was doing quite well. And she said, you should do it. And so I asked her about the different firms that were out there. So I wasn't looking so basically I looked for a firm that wasn't doing so well, that didn't have very many people. And that's where I went. And within a year, we turned the business around already. And we opened up a branch for them. Then I opened up a second branch for them as well. And they were the first multi-branch real estate company in Zimbabwe and in Bulawayo. They've since closed after I left, they ended up closing one of the branches, but there's still 2 branches here. And so we pivoted away forward. And so I think one of the things that with as you say, the pivot was, looking at, when I first got into real estate, the thing I did was I studied 2 things. What did successful companies in America do 20 years ago for business? And what did they do? What are they doing now? So how much of the now can we adapt to? And we're seeing that now more and more, where the internet and all of these things are a part of it. But back then, one of the biggest things was for sale signs. I mean, when I moved around in 2011, there were no real estate signs anywhere. There were no for sale signs anywhere. And so I walked into
think of it. When I grew up in Bulawayo, I never saw those. So I went to the boss and I said, "Where's our for sale signs?" Because in America, they're all over. And he says, "That's a good idea." So we had them made. We put magnetic signs on the side of the car. We put up for sale signs. And for the next year, I think we were about the only team that did it. Now everybody does it. So I think if you think that's a little bit of, litter or whatever, if you think it's unsightly, you can blame me for that. But it was how... It's innovation.
It was a Zimbabwean innovation, but it was something that they were doing in America for 20 or 30 years. And so I realized that you couldn't pivot to today's American way today. So we had to do both the old way and the new way and bring in the new way a bit more. And we've seen, so we're still doing science all over the place, but now we're also doing the internet, WhatsApp channels, YouTube channels, content creation, podcast, all of those things now are all part of what is in real estate. And for me, you know, we've always been active in the community. We've just 2 weeks ago, we received the national award from the Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce for Best Emerging Business. So
congratulations.
we got the, thank you. We got the Matabele Land Award, and then that puts you into the national nomination. And then we won the national as well.
Oh, wow.
So, and we've won many awards over the last 10, 15 years as Thompson Properties, as myself, and now as Chas Everitt. So we believe in being in the public space. And so what does that mean? That's why, you know, when I was asked, do you want to do this podcast? I didn't say, you can ask your person there. I didn't say, who is it? What is it about?
Yes.
What was my first answer? You can shout out.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So why not? So, I mean, I've done a couple different ones, and it's fine. You know, and for me, it's about just getting out there and being a part of what's going on publicly. And because what we want is we want people to realize they want to see a difference between what we're doing professionally and what the bogus guys are doing on the other side there. And we want to be, you know, we want to be part of an amazing thing, because that a home is one of the best things you can have. People want to come home. They want to spend time at home. They want to return home. All of these things, you know, and it all starts with a home, which is a property, but it's a property that your family's in. It's a property that you build with love. And so for us, we feel, I mean, I've had people say to me, what did the guy, just a couple weeks ago, a guy was eating lunch and I walked past and, hey, how's it? And he remembered me, and his sons were sitting there. And he said to the sons, this is the guy you have to thank for the house we live in.
Oh, wow.
And I'd sold him his house, and he remembered that. And so now he's telling his kids 10 years later, or even more, that this is the guy that sold us our house. And he hasn't forgotten that. And it's amazing that you can be part of that big, giant decision. But you have to have integrity, and you can never sell your integrity for small gains, because that integrity is what gives people the confidence and faith to work with you and to trust you with these big things. I've got one lady right now, we're in the middle of doing a property for her, small property. And she is so nervous. And I've been on the phone with her a couple of times, and I'm not even the one running her sale. And I call her up and what's wrong, you know, and chatted to her a little bit. And she eventually lets out the true story is that the last time she tried to buy a property, she got ripped off. And so we said, no, well, that's why you're working with a professional now. She says, yes, that's why I'm working with a professional. And I said, but then I'm not going to trust your professional. You know what I mean? But she was having a hard time with it, because every step she took, she wanted to ask me 2 or 3 times before she took the step. She wanted to ask me while she was taking the step. And then she wanted to confirm afterwards that we made the right step each section. And, but it's okay. We understand where people are at. And, you know, you can be offended that somebody doesn't trust you.
Yeah.
But you know what? Trust isn't just, it's not, you can't expect it. It has to be earned.
This episode is brought to you by HUMHR, the boutique career and leadership consultancy helping professionals get clear, get confident, and get hired. From CV writing and Clifton Strengths coaching to interview prep and leadership development, HUMHR is here to help you take the next step in your career. Visit humhr.org, HUMHR.org to learn more.
The Bible talks about having a good name, and it's so easy to blow up a good name with one bad thing. And so for us, we're hoping that our legacy is always that we've treated people well, that we've helped people, and that people can trust what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about King City.
Okay.
Because I saw something on Facebook. You will correct me
Okay.
if I'm wrong. But I saw something about there's something you're doing in memory of your daughter.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that King City?
within King City, so we've been with King City since the beginning.
Yes.
And in one of the second section that we ever sold at King City, which we called GP4, which is now called Windsor Court, there was a property for sale in that section.
Okay.
And it was one of the only commercial properties available in the whole place. And so going over the plan, I realized that the commercial sections were quite, there weren't very many. And so I thought to myself, well, this is going to be a valuable piece of land. So I started purchasing that piece of land a few years ago. And, I had some ideas and some thoughts what I might do. And one thought was maybe just buy it for now, sell it on later or whatever. And so we had a daughter, Victoria, and she got cancer. And after 2 years of struggles, she passed away at 19 years old. So she was the.
Sorry about that. No. I should not have brought it up.
No. We talk about it. It's okay.
So sorry. Yeah.
So she was the deputy head girl of Petra. She was one of the top. I mean, she got an award every prize giving. So she was in the A stream, and she would always be top amongst the top in her class. So she was very, very switched on and clever, like her father. And so she was a very special person. When she passed, we actually had, I think, about 3,000 people came to her funeral. For a 19-year-old, I think that's relatively unheard of. We were very public with the journey, even through the passing as well. And we continue to be. And we started a grief support group afterwards as well, not knowing much about it, just learning it as we went, but knowing that it's a big need in Bulawayo. And so we needed to, not needed to, but to fit in with the theme of King City. You hear that the one section now is called Windsor Court.
Yes.
Another section is called Kingsbury. Another section is called Crown Ridge. So it's all sort of royalty-based names for the different areas. And so when we named Victoria, a lot of it just because she was born in Chipinge. So she, just the connection to Zimbabwe and Victoria Falls. And at the time it was not a very common name. It was kind of a out of fashion name, but now all of a sudden it's kind of come back in again. And and then we've got a foster child that's been with us now for 15 years. Her name is Courtney. So Victoria's Court is Victoria and Courtney together.
So it's called Victoria's Court.
Victoria's Court, which fits in with the whole royal theme very, very nicely as well. Yes. So we did a dedication. We dedicated the land to the Lord with some of our supporters. And we did that a few weeks ago. And then we cleared the land. And then we did water surveys and put down boreholes. And so we had 4 sites that we could drill. We drilled the first one, which was supposed to be the best one. Came up with good water. We drilled the second one, which was supposed to be the second best one, and it was twice as good as the first one. So we've now got plenty of water for King City, for Victoria's Court. And so we're hoping to finish the building plans up, and we've even got people applying for tenancy. We haven't even started construction yet. So we've got about 15, 20 people who've applied to be tenants at Victoria's Court. So that's our next sort of big thing that we're working on. We're kind of running it ourselves, as it were. And the next big plan will be in a month or so to have a groundbreaking ceremony there, and then to actually start construction. So, and again, we want that to be, we're not at this stage, I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but we're not looking to put in bars and bottle stores, and we'd rather it be like a family environment, a community area that can be used by the community, where people can feel safe and feel like it's part of. So not only I'm not living in King City, but I'm definitely one of the neighbors in King City. So for us, I always am able to sell something I believe in a lot more than something I don't believe in. And that's why King City does well for me. That's why real estate does well for me, because I believe in it.
Yeah. You left being a pastor.
Yeah.
Now, did you leave it or?
No. So
most people don't.
Hopefully you never do, really. So we go to church. We fellowship with a church called New Creation, and we're very involved with them there. I'm the what am I? I'm like the substitute. Like whenever somebody doesn't, like if somebody calls the pastor up on Saturday and says, I'm sick and I can't preach tomorrow, often I'll get the Saturday call to come.
Okay.
So it's which is okay. So I do preach there once in a while, not often. Our church has made, I think, a concerted effort to try to get the younger guys involved more, which is fun, which is good. But we're very involved. My wife has started, I want to say it right, coming home. Welcome home. Sorry, I knew I got it wrong. Welcome home. They're helping to raise some goods and some things to help these returning residents coming back.
Yes.
And so they're meeting them at the buses. Buses will come with 180 people at a time. And we've heard some horrific stories of guys who've suffered coming back. Other guys not so much, but a lot of times they're coming back and they don't know to what. So we're trying to provide some clothes and food and some support. There's a local restaurant who's decided to, I don't know if we're allowed to share this, but anyway, who's decided that they'd like one of the returning residents to be the new cook. So we've every time they come in, we find out anybody that's got experience, and we're sending them so a lot of the communities jumped in and helped out, which has been amazing. Chas Everitt, our company, is one of the drop-off points where people bring some goods for donation. So I've taken, I think, 3 carloads of stuff over to the church so far. But then we were also very instrumental in Cyclone Idai relief. So we were from that area, the Chipinge Chimoni area. And we were there when Cyclone Idai hit, which was 2000. And then when Cyclone Idai hit, we just said, we got to do something.
Yeah.
And we've worked with Miracle Missions out of Harare a few times in the past. And we saw that all the donations from Bulawayo were being sent to Harare, bottlenecking in Harare, and then trying to get, so we said, let's just take stuff from here. And we did. And we had a whole volunteer team. We took over the entire church. The church actually had to move services to another location for a couple months because we took over the entire place, which the church was happy for that. And I think we took in 16 or 18 lorry loads of goods into the area. And so what we tried to do was, instead of going into the official channels and like bottlenecking, we actually hit a lot of the areas that were hit, but not as badly, because they weren't getting any help at all. And so we actually came in and did a lot then. And it was quite something. And then a year later, we raised some more funds, and through the help of another guy, we built kind of modular steel homes. And so we built them here and took them in packs, and then because a lot of these guys a year later were still living in tents. So we got these little houses that we could put up that were a couple rooms. And then in the future, when they built their house again, then this could be a storage room or a kitchen or whatever. And so we did that the next year, put up, I think, I want to say 18 houses, but it was like a tent. The tent, you can't even stand up in a tent.
Yeah.
How do you live in a place you can't even stand up?
You cannot.
And so
the dignity
So I remember they were shiny silver, and we put one up on the top of a hill. This young guy was given a piece of land by the chief, and we put his on the top. And when we were on the lower part building, at certain times that would hit like a mirror, and we could see this thing up there shining, which was really cool. And so that was in the Rosita Valley area, which got hit really badly. And so we found that those guys, nobody could get to them for a long time. They only got relief by helicopter because all the roads had been destroyed. So we did more work the next year once things were reopened there. But we could see bridges and giant rocks that had been pushed down by all the water. It was quite something to walk around and see these structures, you know. And because there's a few places where more than one river join. Yeah. And it just destroyed a lot of that area. But guys, as soon as the water was gone, they rebuilt and started growing again and bringing animals in. And it's like, it's going in place again. Because I think Zimbabweans just are very resilient, and you know. But so we do sort of that sort of thing. We do a ladies' retreat every year at Antelope Park. Yeah. So we've been running that for quite a few years now. called Nikos. And so we have between some years it's around 100, some years I think we've had up to 400 women there. And so that's coming up in a couple months. So we do that every year. So we're very involved. And whenever we hear there's a need or whatever, we try to do what we can to jump in and come up with ideas or ways to help. Or we got in touch with what's that place for the children that we can't remember? Zim Kids. Zim Kids. And so we got introduced to Zim Kids by one of our clients, and we went and saw them, and our men's ministry actually kind of went there and took them on a bit. We went and cooked breakfast for all the kids the one time. I've got a photograph of, I think we did 300 eggs in one pot.
Oh, wow.
Boiled them. We decided
300.
300. And so then all the guys sitting there peeling eggs. Some of them have never peeled an egg in their life. But, that was for Christmas. We kind of came in and did that. And then that next year, I went to all the companies we work with. And we said, right, we need you to donate a mealie meal for the month. And so I think we were doing 500 kgs or something like that every month. And then we found out that a lot of the kids that were coming into Zim Kids they saw them getting fed. And a lot of them were eating like a quarter of the food and hiding the rest of the food in their pockets. And they went to sort of find out what was going on. And they discovered that there's a number of these child-led homes. There's no parents anywhere. And these kids were taking the food home to eat for the next couple of days. Yeah. So we were then intending to do something there. And then we had a bit of a tragedy in our house. And we ended up, the week I was supposed to go and see them, the guy calls me and says, "Are you coming to see us today?" And I was like, sorry, we're in India. My wife had a brain tumor. And so we traveled to India. And so I called from India to cancel our meetings. And but our men's group still goes there, still does things from time to time. We want to help them look at putting down some boreholes and being able to do a bit more with the piece of land they've got. But yeah, so we do very pastorally things without having to run a church, as it were. Yeah,
that is the heart of your purpose, because even the real estate, the reasons that I heard you saying, because the family is a central part, having a home is a central part of the community building. So even that real estate is actually a pastoral. It's part of your mission.
Yeah, it's for me, I'd rather sell somebody something that makes me less money but suits them perfectly than to sell them the thing that makes me the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's more about how do we, because we know if somebody's happy in their home, they'll never forget you. They're always the guy that sold them that house. And it's always, I love running into people that tell me, "Oh yeah, you sold me my house." And 99 times out of 100, that's a positive thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And every now and again, somebody maybe it doesn't work out. But, for the most part, people love having a home and building and creating a loving space where they are. And so for us, we see that. Like, I find it hard to see how 5 families living in a high density property, how do you make that feel like home?
Yeah.
I don't know that you can 100%. But when those guys get into their own place and they put flowers out, or they paint it how they want to paint it, or they create a home for them and their family. And we love that. That's what we want to see. Yeah.
I love that. Tell me about the teacher in you that writes in the Sunday papers.
Yeah, I haven't written for a little while. I need to sort of, I've got a couple articles sitting there ready to go again. So I do want to start writing again. My son has actually written a book himself. So he's trying to get that finished, which is amazing. But we've always believed in being there to teach other people. And so Thompson Developments, we've almost always have attachees there. I think there's one there now. I don't even know who he is. But anyway, because we want to help people learn. And it was even amazing. We had one of our clients, their daughter came to us during every school holidays and just worked for us for free, just to learn the business. And I thought, as a high school student, I thought, how amazing is that? And she was very good, and we enjoyed having her with us when she came. And so we've always, and not only that, but we had when Victoria was alive, I often take Victoria out, or myself, and we'll go together and have lunch or whatever. I'm a person who believes in, and I know this is old-fashioned, but opening doors for the ladies and all that sort of thing, you know. So I've always treated my daughter the same way. And in my mind, it's a philosophy I have called idiot-proofing my daughter. And so if I treat her like a gentleman, if a guy comes and hoots at the gate and expects her to come running out, she's going to be like, forget that. You know what I mean? And she was like that. She could be kind of hard on a guy if he wasn't up to the standard. And I remember one day I was taking her out for lunch, and she said to me, my friend is around. Can we take her with us? So yeah, why not? So I took her with her. I mean, they were about 16 at the time, I think. So we had lunch with these two young ladies, and we're just chatting and whatever. So I go to pay the bill, and Victoria tells me later that her friend says to her, does your dad always talk to you like this? And my daughter was puzzled, didn't understand what do you mean? Does he always talk to you like this? And she says, I don't know. What do you mean? Like what?
Yeah.
And she said, does he always treat you like you're an adult? And she's like, yeah, of course he does. I mean, she didn't really. And this girl's parents were divorced, I think, at the time, and she didn't really have much of a relationship at all with her dad. And so at that stage, I thought, ish, that's really sad, eh? So from time to time, when we would go out with Victoria, I'd say, do you want your friend to come with? And we'd spend time. Anyway, that ended up growing into a little group of, I can't even count how many, eight girls. So I'd go out to lunch and I'd be taking 8 teenage girls with me. And most of them, a couple of them, their fathers had passed. You know, a lot of them just didn't have an influence in their life of a father. And we would nothing heavy, but we're in the car heading to a restaurant, and I'd say to the girls, do you see that the car's clean today? I said, yeah, we can see that. And I said, well, I cleaned it because I knew I was taking you guys, you know? And so I said, so what do you do if a young man comes and his car is filthy? And they'd almost in unison, they'd kick him to the curb. And I said, well, maybe that's a bit hard, maybe, but it's good to have a standard, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just went to Cape Town a couple of weeks ago and married one of those girls. And so it was very special. Yeah. So you have to put back into people. Because if you don't, what does it matter?
Yeah.
You can make money, you can be successful, but if you don't, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but that girl's father didn't come to her wedding. And I don't understand that. I couldn't do that. And we had a very special time with her there. I got to pray with her before she got married. And, you know, she was one of my daughter's best friends. And they would laugh on the phone together. They would be, they could be insanely crazy. She'd come over, and I knew she was there because I'd come home and I'd find the dogs come out and they'd be different colors. And they love putting food coloring on the dogs. And whenever she'd would leave, all our cheese would be gone because she'd eat all our cheese. And they would play songs that I used to listen to in high school, and that became their songs. And it was amazing. But for me, that's like important to put into people. Yes. And my father didn't put into me. My parents were split when I was very young. And when my dad passed, I didn't even know. I found out a month or two later. And so, you know, for me, I just don't understand having kids I'll tell you what I don't understand even more, becoming a stepfather and not wanting to put into those kids. You know what I mean? If you wanting to date a lady who's got kids and you don't want the kids, then just move on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because kids take that hard and they think somehow it's a reflection on them. And most of the time it's a bad reflection on the parents, you know? So for us, we believe in, I mean, we've had teenagers, we don't even know how it happened. At one stage, the court awarded teenagers to us that we weren't even in court for. and they were with us for a while, a couple months,
Yeah.
because until their family situation corrected. And so, so we just, you have to put in, and that's more than making money or more than having property. What did you instill in the people that you were around you? I mean, when my father died, I never cried. And I always thought, how sad is that? Like, if I die, my kids don't even cry, then I'm thinking I've done something wrong, But so it's, life has lots of, the think that we're in control is an illusion.
We never are.
We're never in control.
We never are.
And we never know what that curveball is. I mean, for us, Victoria getting cancer was one of the biggest curveballs we've ever faced. And,
I can completely relate.
Yeah.
I went through a similar experience, except that my child was much younger.
Okay.
Yeah, he was 4 at the time. So
And what
I
what
totally
happened?
relate. Yeah, he passed away at the age of 4. Yeah, from cancer.
It doesn't seem
So
like it could even be
totally
possible.
relate, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a terrible. I can't imagine something being worse than that. I mean, people people go through terrible things, but I don't know what could be worse.
What could be worse?
Yeah.
What could be worse? Yes.
Yeah. And it's made us more empathetic to other people.
Yes.
There's things as a pastor that we said to people, and later you think, that was so stupid. Why did I say that? Because you don't know. Until you've gone through something similar, you don't really know. And we can say lots of very pat answers, like in church, but then a lot of times those get crumbled by reality. You know what I mean? And so, as much as we know, I think one of the things we have to know, we don't know everything. And so, to say to somebody, they say, how's this gonna work? And to say to them, look, I don't know. I'll find out, but right now I don't know. And I think a lot of people don't have the humility to do that. They want to act like they've always got all the answers. And then there's times in life that you get hit with something where you don't have any answers.
Yeah, like that's, you have no answers, 0 answers. It's just one day at a time.
100%. And that's one of the things that we say a lot, one day at a time. You just get through. You just have to sometimes you just put one foot in front of the other until you get through that day. Yeah. And then the next day brings you something else.
We only have grace for that one day.
Yeah. And in America, they had these little boxes, the promise boxes with all these scriptures in. And I said, the one promise that is true is that every day will have enough evil of its own. You know what I mean? And we never quote it as a promise, but Jesus told us that as well. And, we can get into this idea that if we're serving God, everything must be perfect for us. The reality doesn't bear that out. You know what I mean? It rains on the just and the unjust. And so, we can feel that if we do everything right, then everything should work for us. But it doesn't. That's not how it works. And these guys out there preaching the gospel like that if you have enough faith, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to just work out exactly how you want it. It's not a true gospel, And so, but what it tells us is that when things are tough, we depend on each other. Yeah. And we depend on the Lord as well, obviously. But we reach out to other people. And if we have that, we can get through anything. If we don't have that, we can't really get through anything. So, yeah. So for me, it's about putting back, bringing somebody that knowledge that they can do something that you did in less time than you did it, in a better way than you did it. And I mean, as I'm getting older, you get very humbled at times by how WhatsApp works, or how the internet works, or how TikTok works, and you've got no concept. And the young guys, they know. And it reminds me, we did an open house, and the ladies, they did a video. And they said, let's put it out on our WhatsApp status. And this was like less than a year ago. Yeah. And I'm like, what? I don't know what it is.
What is that?
So they showed me. So then they're watching the numbers. And this one had 12 views, and this one had 20 views, and I had 2. And they're laughing that I've only got 2 views,
This numbers thing in social media.
The numbers keep going in. Mine's still on 2. And eventually the one young lady says, can I see your phone? So she looks, and my WhatsApp status was available for 2 people to see. So those two people saw
Yes.
and looked, and that was it. So she opened it up to my whole contact list. And within an hour, I had over 100 views. And I passed up everybody else at the table. And by the end of the 24 hours, I had almost 500 views. And so my WhatsApps do get viewed like that, you know. And it was just funny because I had no concept, and yet they showed me how to do it. And now I'm all the time doing that, you know, getting stuff out there and sharing whatever. Like we just came back from Rwanda, so I've got some videos I've taken there that I've started to share. And I mean, a tragic thing that happened there, but everything that's happened for even though it was a tremendous evil, there has to be things that we learn from it.
Yeah.
And there has to be ways that we as people become better. And if we don't become better, then it's a greater tragedy even. I mean, it becomes more of a tragedy when we don't learn from it. And to see what they've rebuilt in a short time there is amazing. And so we also must always be looking on the side of building and moving forward.
Yeah. A couple of things you mentioned, 3 names. Thompson Property, Thompson Development, Chas Everitt.
Yes.
Can you just explain that if I want to buy a property, where do I go?
Okay. So Thompson Properties, we working with obviously that's my name. I thought to myself, I want to put my name right on the front door. So if Thompson Properties messes up, I've messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not hide behind another name, as it were. So Thompson Properties was a registered real estate agency, and we did property management, and we did sell properties, not very much. So we were predominantly working with property development. So we were selling stands, not houses so much.
Okay.
And so we did that for about 9 years or so, 9 or 10 years. And predominantly our number one client has been King City. So for 6.5 years, we've been working a lot with them. So that was Thompson Properties. Just over a year ago, we had a team come from Harare to visit us and saw the work we'd done as Thompson Properties. And we're now pushing forward this idea of becoming a part of Chas Everitt, which is an international company. And so we listened to them, and it was funny because somebody said, like, why would you even think about it? And I'm like, because we've got to be open to any idea.
Yeah.
You know, could this be something new? Could this be a new challenge? Could this be something we do better or whatever? What's there? So, and I remember Thompson Property staff was against the idea predominantly because it's like, what happens to your name? So they thought Thompson Properties would be gone, and which was the plan. And when we showed them all the stuff we were doing, and they realized how much we did in the developing side, they then said, look, why doesn't Thompson Properties continue, create stands, and then Chas Everitt will sell them. So then that's what we're working towards. And so when it comes to construction, borehole siting, property development, all of that we still can do from Thompson Developments because you don't need a license to do those things. But selling a property, buying a property, and managing a property have to have a registered agent. So when I moved from one to the other, my license comes with me.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I became the registered, what they call the principal real estate agent for Chas Everitt. So then Thompson Properties stopped doing some of the property stuff. So then we decided to change the name of the property to Thompson Developments just to make it sound like we're not so much a real estate company, which we aren't because we don't have a license there. And so all the things that have to do with real estate, property, sales, and management we do from Chas Everitt. So we actually work hand in hand. You'll see, if you're in our offices, you'll see a Thompson person there from time to time, bringing something over or whatever, because we still work together. Obviously, I still own that other company as well. But Chas Everitt is now it was predominantly a South African company, and they've now branched out into Mauritius, Dubai. I think they're going into Zambia soon, now Zimbabwe. And then Zimbabwe as a brand, as a franchise, we're one franchise.
Yeah.
So I'm part owner of all 3 branches. So we've got 2 Harare branches and 1 branch here in Bulawayo. Our plan in the very near future is to open up branches in Vic Falls and other Zimbabwean towns. And then we're also in negotiations in 2 or 3 other countries to open up new branches there as well, which will be part of the Chas Everitt Zimbabwe brand.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've had some meetings in a couple other countries as well. So we're going to continue to grow. And the Bulawayo team is an absolutely amazing team that we put together. Professionals all right through and through. And we keep growing. So I think we're now 13 of us there now. And we've just finished our first year. And we had a good year. And guys are doing very well for themselves. And a lot of the guys in our company, this was their best year ever, the last 12 months that we've had. So, and we enjoy each other. We're family and friends together, also working hard for people. And we also have created an atmosphere where, like yesterday, one lady, she's been in the business. I knew her I worked with her at one of the former companies. And so she's been in the business I've been in Zimbabwe real estate for 15 years. She's been in probably 13 years. And yet her client was having a hard time with that, like I said, that trust issue.
Yes.
And so I just phoned her and talked to her, walked her through it. And, we just help each other. And I'm not saying to that lady now, I must get half your commission. We do that. We help each other out and we work together. Because our most important thing for us is that the client gets the best for the client.
Okay.
And so, it's an amazing team. One of our ladies won an award down south already in 6 months. She's already received an award from down south. We're meeting with the bosses next week in Harare. And so they're coming to congratulate us on some of the stuff we've done. And like I said, we've won a few awards as Chas Everitt Bulawayo already.
Yeah.
And we're just getting started. So, it's exciting.
Well done on the awards.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've taken more than an hour of your time, and
right.
I had asked for an hour. So I'm going to wrap it up, but I'm really interested in why you were earning awards as a salesperson at the job that you took when you went into real estate. I think it was Red Property, was it?
Yeah.
Where you opened 2 branches for them.
Yeah.
What made you decide, let me start my own?
I saw an example of a person who had been made a partner. And within a few months of being made a partner, he passed away. Okay. And the deal that they had was his partnership wasn't permanent until he had served a year.
Ooh.
He was short of that year. And basically his family, as far as I know, the only thing his family got was half a commission that we were supposed to share. So I sold something that he had given me a lead. I was supposed to give him the money. I actually gave it to the lady who now works for us. It was her. And that was all they got from that. And so the partnership meant nothing for the family carrying on. Fortunately, he had earned enough that he bought his family a house before he had passed, which has helped them tremendously.
Yeah.
And that just put into my mind that if I'm working for somebody else, I'll be lucky to get my last paycheck if I pass. And so I'd rather build something that can endure, a legacy that can provide for my children beyond when I'm here. And that was the main motivating factor. And funny enough, they asked me the other day for a CV for some reason in the company. It's just a company document they want.
Yeah.
So I put a bunch of stuff into ChatGPT and give me a CV sort of story. And it kind of dawned on me how many businesses I've started in my life. And it came out with kind of an entrepreneur aspect, which I hadn't even really thought that much about. But we ran a company called Thompson Properties for a long time. Thompson Imports, for a long time in the States, where we were bringing stuff from Africa. And I love that job as well. And just creating work and creating companies. We created that shopping company here in Bulawayo, and eventually we sold it to the girl who worked for us. We hired somebody full-time. And so looking back, I realized how many companies we've created over the years. And a lot of times we create them, get them to a place, sell them on to somebody else, and keep going. And that's what we did with Thompson Imports as well. Left it behind with somebody else and moved to Zimbabwe. And so for me, it's creating is exciting. And I'm old enough. I'm old enough. I'm supposed to be starting to think about retiring, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if that's happening anytime soon. But for us, I wouldn't be shocked if we created another. I mean, Victoria's Court's another business we're creating right now, and yet I'm almost 60. So, but at the end of the day, if you're not living and creating, then you're just taking up space, I think. And so, to me, it's about living, it's creating, empowering other people, and mentoring and helping people to become better versions of themselves. That's all part of what we want to do.
So you came to Zimbabwe because of your wife?
No, you might think that. No, so I've got a lot of philosophies in my mind. So I've got a mindset that believes that I believe everybody has a dream. Okay, but I believe that a lot of people have forgotten their dream. Either somebody told them it was stupid, or something happened and they've forgotten it. But somewhere, I think everybody has a dream. And I think if a guy has a dream and a girl has a dream and they're diametrically opposed to each other, it's just not a wise connection. You know what I mean? So to me, I think your dreams they don't have to be the same, but they should work together in one way or another. And Shrina and I were dating at university in the States, and I knew that she wanted to come back to Zim. And so I've always known from the time I was 7 years old that I was going to live in Africa. I've always known that. So I felt God tell me that very personally. And so I've always known Africa, but I didn't know which part of Africa. So I graduated a semester before my wife did because of your differences in school terms. And so we dated, but we never talked about marriage. We never got engaged or anything at university. And I thought to myself, well, I need to go to Zim and see, can Zim work for me or no? Because if it can't work for me, then I'm going to move on. Because I know that her heart was to be in Zimbabwe. And I came, my future mother-in-law picked me up from the airport. And I remember getting off the plane and thinking, wow, this is hot at the Harare airport. And then we drove. The first thing I remember seeing after that was Coca-Cola Corner. And for some reason, it never dawned on me that Coca-Cola is everywhere. And I just thought, oh, this is amazing. Coca-Cola is here too.
Everything is Coke. Even if it's Coke.
So it's there somewhere. And then we drove to the farm where they were staying, which was in Mwanezi. And as we hit the cattle grid coming onto the farm, on the left side of the road, there was a baby giraffe standing there. And when I saw that, I was just like, no, this is for me. So my first day here, I was like, yeah, this is the place. So Shreen came home around Christmas time. And I think the morning after she came home, we got engaged. And 4 months later, we were married. And then the government kicked me out of the country. And we ended up in America for another 9 years. And I never intended to go home. I thought that was it.
Yeah.
So we went home for 9 years. And then eventually we packed our bags and made our move back in 1999. So I've been here for 27 years full time and 37 years on and off. And we made our move. We moved to Chipinge. We were there for 7 years. And then for 20 years, we've been here in Bulawayo. So this is home for me. This is home for me.
What is it like working with your wife? I know a lot of people start businesses as husband and wife. And I wouldn't do it. But I do more work, business. Yeah. And my wife does more ministry. So I do everything I can to support the ministries that she's in, and whatever she does. And so I think that's our division of labor. Is that my wife does a lot of ministry work, and I support that. Sometimes, I've even preached at the women's retreat, which is a rare thing for a man to do. And so we've always been involved together like that. In business, we did Thompson Imports together a lot, but in real estate, not as much. But I'm trying my best to give my wife a life of leisure now, that she can do what she likes to do. But what she likes to do a lot of times includes ministry. So that's a good tip. Division of labor. Ensure there's division of labor.
Everybody's got their part.
Jonathan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
One very last question. What are the steps I should take if I want to invest in property in Bulawayo?
If you want to invest in property. So I've bought in a number of properties in the recent years.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've never owned a property until, I don't know, maybe 8-9 years ago was my first property.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't grow up having the money. I didn't grow up having properties or anything like that. And every property I've gotten into in a different way than the last one. So first of all, be flexible. You know, you might do it this way and it works, but the next time it may work a different way. And so, you know, and I think put something aside for real estate, whether you're in something right now or not. So I've never saved money nicely, except when I was a kid. I did very good with the bank. But growing up, you know, especially in Zim, how do you save in Zim?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so for me, I often get into different deals where I'm paying off a property or something. And I know there's times where my wife would say, but you know, I've just made the last payment on a property. And her response would be, we can now, you know, take a bit of a breather, take a break. And I'd say to her, sorry, sweetheart, I got into another deal 2 months ago. And so I pretty much have been paying on property for most of the past 8 or 9 years. Almost every month I've been paying something towards property. And so, you know, for me, get in at the level you can.
Yes.
So if you've got enough money to put, like in King City, you can put down a deposit and pay off a stand. So for a few $100 a month, you can sort of start getting into the real estate. I think a lot of people think if I don't have 100 or 200,000, I just can't do anything. And I was on another small, I don't know what it was, on TikTok, I think, but a guy I had a podcast with before in Kigali just last week. And he said to me, if you had some money in Bulawayo, what would you do to get into real estate, and what would be like a good investment? And I said, it's not a popular answer, but getting into high density houses, because for 25 to 40K, you can get into a property. You can get $300-400 a month, which is a 10 to 12% return, and that's better than you can do in a low density house generally, as far as investment goes. And you know, if you take that money every month and you put it away, and you don't touch it, if you just put it under your bed, don't even put it in the bank, right? And you don't touch it for 10 years, you can go and buy the same house again.
Yes.
And if you do that for another 10 years, you can buy 2 more houses again.
Yeah.
So if you did that sort of for 30 or 40 years, you can end up with about 8 houses, and you've only ever paid for the first one. So there's ways to do it. It's unfortunately, a lot of times we want to be gratified instantly. And if we can't get it today, then I've just, with my mom, before she passed away, I helped her buy a house in the States, and she bought it on a mortgage. So I've actually got a house with a mortgage in America that I'm paying on. And, you know, so that's the first time I've ever actually had a mortgage in my life. And it's not actually even mine, but I've inherited it as such. But, so I've even got a property in America that I'm working towards now. And, yeah, so to me, there's another philosophy I've got. It's called the philosophy of unrelenting pursuit. You can have anything you want. Anything you want in life, you can have it if you give up everything for it.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And my example is, if you want a perfect lawn, if you want your garden to be green and perfect, you can have that. You know, every time you're coming home, you can pick a blade of grass from somewhere, bring it home and plant it, and you can keep doing that for 50 years until your yard is perfect. Is it the most effective way to do it? Maybe not. But you can never say at the end of your life, I never had a chance to have a perfect lawn. If you wanted it and you worked towards it, you could have it. Yeah. And so I believe in that. And so even if it's small steps, if consistent steps will get you anywhere. You can walk around the world if you don't stop walking. But if you don't take the first step, you can't go anywhere. You can't even get out of this room if you don't take a step. And so for me, it's about, you know, whether you get involved in the REITs, there's real estate investment trust, and you're buying one little piece of a property just to get started, or whether you buy a little piece of land and eventually build the foundation, build the walls, and work your way up. Whether you build an old property, you get an old property and you fix it, whatever steps you take. There's ways to do it. A lot of them take creative, there's a lot of these groups now where especially women get together, and one group was a group of men in a church, and they put in money every month. And when they get enough money, they buy a property for the group.
Yeah.
And so there's ways to do it. It's just, are you dedicated enough? And are you willing to wait for that thing to come to it? If you get impatient, nothing good will ever happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, if you're just waiting for some bank to come and drop millions on your lap so you can buy whatever you want, it has never happened to me.
We all think, let me save enough. Let me save 100K. Let me save 150 so I can just buy it, you know, rather than 100, whatever I have. We don't really think that way, that let me start with what I have.
Yeah. And it's, you know, you can do it. But it just takes time and effort, and it takes dedication. Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think one of the guys who was here when we were starting, I forget his name, he said, this is going to be a long day. Yeah. And he was right.
We know how to talk.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time you've taken. Fire round questions. If you could put a billboard on the Bulawayo Gwanda Road at the entrance of King City, what would it say?
Your new life starts here.
Like it. The best sales lesson you learned before you turned 12.
The best that it's easier to sell something you believe in.
Tulsa or Bulawayo, which one is home?
Bulawayo. What's Tulsa?
And if I wanted to invest in US or Bulawayo, where would I invest property? What would you say?
So both. But for me, I think it starts where home is.
Okay.
I think you invest where home is, and then if that grows, then you look at other places as well. But I think you start with home.
Okay. The Verso principle you build a business on?
That I believe that you need to you need to under promise and over deliver. That you need to help people with their expectations and then exceed those expectations. So I think everything we do, we want to do that. We want to exceed the expectations, because unfortunately in this country, so many people have had their expectations not met. Yeah. And they've been disappointed. And then they just feel like it's exactly the same as every other time. So I think under promise and over deliver.
And that's your business motto, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We follow that as much as we can.
Okay, last one. Bulawayo in 10 years, one sentence.
Bulawayo in 10 years, one sentence, growing.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be growing. And because we're still going to be doing King City in 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's nice is that there's hundreds of other people with land that now want to take that model on a smaller scale and build on it as well. Yeah. So I think you're going to see Bulawayo continue to grow. And it's exciting.
Thank you once again for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Normally people cross borders, they cross the other way, you know, and you cross this way to build Bulawayo, to build opportunities.
I don't know if it's true, but there's a story that in World War II, when the bombs were dropping in Berlin, people were still buying properties. You know, is that true? I don't know. But you know what? When things are rough, the strong often do better. You know what I mean? Because the other ones run, and what's left behind you can capitalize on. So I think you're strong. You bloom when you bloom when you're planted. You pray for wherever you are that there's success there, because it's hard for you to succeed if Zimbabwe doesn't succeed. So we pray for Zimbabwe to succeed as well. And we will always put in as much as we can wherever we are, because otherwise, what are you building? What's it for? Yeah. Yeah. So we want to leave Zimbabwe and Bulawayo a better place than what we found. And we hope that our children do that legacy and your children do that legacy. And as time goes on, it just grows and becomes a better and better place, and a place that we all want to call home.
Thank you everyone for joining Jonathan and I today. I'd like to say a special thank you, special shout out to Educate, who are hosting HUMHR Career Insights at their studio today. They are sponsoring this episode. Educate, funding the future. Until next time, everybody, stay inspired.